finally giving myself permission to be all the parts of myself at the same time. And I found that across the board in terms of, doing Bach with all the gospel inflection that I've always heard in it, something that's a little closer to what I feel in my head.
In this moment, when I feel that a lot of us are redefining the canon, expanding this definition of what is classical music, who wrote it, why, it lets us work backwards from there, like you said, to our Bach, and all these conventions and traditions that have been so rigid. I mean, it goes back to finding our way home, right? What is home?
To that, being in home. So I'm in a hotel right now, but in a very real way, hotel rooms are home, I've spent a lot of time traveling, and it's made me realize that, home really is something that you carry within you. I can dress up whatever as much as I want to, but I'm not going to live in it unless I'm living it myself.
And a scented candle, probably.
And a scented candle. There are a few candles around, some incense,
I know that you and I have been doing hard work during all of this that is centered around healing and creating healing within ourselves, but also creating healing for our communities in a very traumatized space. And I just wanted to talk about the way that our work, and specifically to this song, the redemption or the healing that we are finding there.
So initially, when you introduced this song to me, I fell in love with it immediately because, one, it's Langston Hughes and Margaret Bonds, and two, because its sensibility is so beautiful and rooted in a lot of the music that I love in the church, but also has an art song sensibility. It was such a wonderful marrying of those two things. With this song in particular, in terms of healing, I find my access to interpreting it to be very easy because it's very direct to my own life experience. I was at a certain point in my life where I was quite lost and being self-destructive in a way that was dangerous. And I can only think of the mother in the song as, my own grandmother trying to pull me into some place of seeing my own inner light.
So here's this song we've been talking about. It's called When the Dove Enters In, and Devon and I made this video of it together with the artist Layla Victorin.
This idea of connection, this idea of someone trying to find somebody else, this idea of a dove or peace or light to open the person up or to show forth the light that they have.
When we look at everything that needs to be healed, and we look at how much we are extending ourselves to do that, and at the same time receiving comfort and solace and healing from it, it calls on all the parts of both of us as artists to be our best selves and also pull from all of our corners. I'm happy to be in it with you.
Have you ever seen a mother seek her erring son and find him deep in sin, doing what he should not have done? Then she falls down on her knees and prays he'll be made whole, and the dove enters into his soul. Oh, when the dove enters in and the light is revealed, your sins are forgiven and your sorrows are healed. On the pathway to glory, new wonders begin, with prayer as the healer, when the dove enters in. Have you ever seen a father seek his wandering girl and find her deep in sin, a prisoner of this world? Then he falls falls down on his knees, and praise shall be made whole, and the dove enters into her soul. Oh, when the dove enters in and the light is revealed, your sins are forgiven and your sorrows are healed. On the pathway to glory, new wonders begin, with prayer as the healer. When the dove enters in, have you ever seen a brother lost outside the fold, wasting all his talents in a world so bleak and cold? Then just fall down on your knees and pray you'll be made whole. Ask the dove to come into his soul. Oh, and the dove enters in and the light is revealed. Your sins are forgiven and your sorrows are healed. On the pathway to glory, new wonders begin, with prayer as the healer. When the dove enters in.
Overall, this song, in a very specific way, touches on things that I know and things that I have felt. And as is the case with any piece of great art, you can find yourself in it, you can live in it. And we as artists, I think, have the blessing of being able to connect to ourselves so that we can connect to other people.
And those connections shift too, depending on where you are in your life. Don't you find that different pieces of music come back and they say different things to you, depending on what you need and what you're looking for?
All the time. When you and I first played through this song, it meant a certain thing for me then. It meant like, oh, freedom. You're allowed to be, a classical singer and a gospel singer at the same time. You're allowed to meet and connect and get to know a new friend through playing this thing. And that had a certain, reality and purpose when it happened. And then in rereading this text and getting back into this song more recently, especially after months and months of being in COVID, months and months of reflection, it's just like, whoa, there's actually so much here than I originally even realized. And I think that's the beauty of living with something for a while.
I was sitting here practicing the song the other day, and I had this moment of profound sadness, and I tried to find where it was coming from. And I realized that again, you know that my father died when I was 9. And I think so much of my work is about finding my way back to him, because I, have walked in this world without him. And so I find my search for that part of myself in this music, and it just comes and it catches you and you don't see it coming.
In this idea of being, the kaleidoscope of oneself, it allows a freedom to use those structures for where it can take you, not use them as boundaries.
There's a freedom that's emerging from all the work we're doing during this time, which has to do with what we play, sing, and how we do it and why.
My grandfather, who in his retirement from the Navy directs 3 church choirs, just plays on the piano all the time. And we were kind of playing around with the song Deep River, his lineage and beautiful way of just delivering this tradition forth with my own new interpolations of some sonic colors. Together we reach a new thing.
And we're learning a lot about spontaneity right now. I certainly am. I'm doing stuff that I would not have done 8 months ago. I've made 2 albums here in my living room. Whoa, it's going to be so great to look back and say, oh, that's when we grew up. That's when our work got really good.
It's been an interesting balance between, taking an idea and running with it and then kind of holding that idea with care. It's kind of a thing where it's hard to do things right now. We're in a place where if you endeavor to do something and if you make something, you have really tried to. It hasn't exactly happened through accident. Furthering the work of what I enjoy about music making, which is clear impetus, answering the question of why. In this time, everyone is having to always answer the question of why. Why are we expending ourselves this way? Why are we working so hard to achieve this thing? Is this thing worth achieving? So at least for me, projects that, have come out of this time, they all have really clear meaning because they all have really clear reason. And I'm loving that. And I really hope that just carries forward.
That's some permanent healing, renewal, rebirth.
That's what it's all about. It's about one-to-one relationships of people finding each other and allowing, those people to shine forth for who they fully are. It's really beautiful that the recurring chorus of the song is, for the light to be revealed. That is what I think Hughes and Bonds are coming together to say. It's a one-to-one action. I love this song for that.
Yeah. And I think it's everywhere in our lives now, right? And maybe it took us being separated from each other, being apart to know how much value there is in that one-to-one and just reaching out a hand now that we can't touch each other. To just try to connect and support in every way that we can.
There's real effort, and the beautiful thing about effort is intentionality. You got to do it. You got to care about what you're doing to find what is the care in what I'm, breathing in and out to do, what I'm exhaling sound to do. I really am appreciative of this time in order to just know that more.